Table for 10 in 10 minutes? Yes, sir! Exclamation mark. This story takes place about 15 years ago. I had my phone number for a while now. Long enough that all the olds had it memorized as my number. So I really didn't want to change it for any reason. But one day, almost like a switch, I started getting calls from people looking to reserve a table at the Cheesecake Factory. Way too many to be a practical joke by my friends. Something else had to be going on. It turned out that the new location of the Cheesecake Factory was assigned the number 555. 5,551,223. Problem was my number was 555. 5,551,123. It was maddening. I went from one wrong number a month to 10 to 20 misdials a day. Even worse, about half of them would hang up, hit redial, and boomerang right back to B. And now they were mad at me. Because reasons? Finally one day I snapped. Cue the malicious compliance. Instead of politely telling people that I was not the Cheesecake Factory, I said yes to everything. Jane, table for 5 at 8? Yes, ma'am. You want to know what the wait time is? Well, sir, the dining room is empty right now. You need a table for 10 in 10 minutes and you know the owner? Well, yes, sir, we can accommodate you. The location is still open. But they changed their phone number not too long after that. My old phone number was one digit off from a hospital. The things people left on my, obviously owned by a teenager, answering machine were insane. Sure, let's just leave my full name, social security number and medical record number on this answering machine. Whatever could go wrong? We ended up reporting it to the phone company and they changed our number for free. After moving some years ago, I got a new number. Landline days. Every once in a while I'd get a weird call asking if I had plants for sale. Turns out my number had previously belonged to the Plants for Clean Air Society, or something like that. They advertised in the back of High Times like 5 years previously and people were still picking up old copies, finding the ad, and calling me hoping to score seeds to grow or small plants. This happened in my youth as well. Our landline number has 2 digits transposed from a local appliance repair shop. Like you, my mother eventually got to the point where she started just saying yes. Yeah, your toaster is ready. Come on in and pick it up. Quote, now I'm pondering when we fix things like toasters. I feel you. I'm one digit off of a snowplow company. No issues in the summer. But winter approaches. Was one number different to a local brothel? Not sure what they thought when us kids answered the phone and said, I will just get my mom, dad. I had a similar ordeal years ago. Apparently a collection agency had a similar number to our 800 line at work. Transpose the last 2 digits and I'd get some really nasty phone calls where people would speak over me and demand I fix my screw-up before I could explain they had reached a paint warehouse. Some apologized when they finally calmed down. Some would say something like, I better not be charged for this call, before hanging up, and then there were those who didn't seem to care that I wanted to send them to the correct company. One particular really angry person insisted that my parents were siblings and some other hateful comments meant to hurt. And that helped. I apologized for the error and offered to wipe out the balance on their account. The person was smugly satisfied and confirmed my name and employee number. They never called back, but I often imagine the ensuing collection call. There was a guy some decades back who had the bad fortune to suddenly be one digit off from a ferry service. He went the nice way, could you perhaps get a number that doesn't collide with the one I've had for decades? No joy. The ferry service insisted it couldn't be a big problem. How many calls could it be? Really? Instead, he changed his answering machine message. I said it was decades back. To one saying that due to a machinery breakdown, ferry service has been suspended until further notice. That made the ferry company take notice, and he of course jumped at the opportunity to ask, how many calls could it be? Really? Quote, they changed their number. Same thing happened when I was young. But it was a pizza place. They certainly pissed off a lot of customers by not delivering on time. Happens a lot. People kept calling an auto parts store. I was getting tired of it, as I am a day sleeper. One day, I was real grumpy when I was rudely awoken by the phone. Guy wanted to know the price of an engine. Oh, wow. You won't believe this, but we have one in stock. Guy bought it a year ago, paid for it, and never came back for it. I can let you have it for, $200. That's to cover the stage for the last year. I can only imagine the parts store after that. They finally changed their number after I started pricing out other parts. My new number must have been a guy that was a total player. I'd get girls asking for Robert, then get super upset that I am a female. One girl wouldn't believe that Robert changed his number and it was now mine. She kept saying just put him on the phone. I know he's there. My mobile phone was one digit off from a local public defender. I was getting daily calls from inmates at the county jail. Fortunately, I got the sheriff's department to block my number from the inmate line. Haha. 30 years ago we used to live by 3 colleges. Our phone number used to be 4,988,303 and the local Domino's number was 4,983,030. We used to get tons of late night calls because they double pressed the 8. We got to the point where we would take the order and confirm a delivery time. This was before cell phones. Eventually Domino's went to centralized system for all orders, so the calls stopped. I used to get calls for Rob, the drug dealer. Guy who had my phone hash was with Child Protective Services. Yeah, lots of SHTTY calls. Luckily my phone has no coverage at my house. Once, I got a new phone number that used to belong to a pole dancing fitness academy. For over a year, I got phone inquiries from bored housewives with high-pitched voices and nervous laughter wanting to sign up for stripper classes. Open mouth smile. This happened with my small business. My phone number was one digit off of the Board of Elections. I stopped answering the phone in November because every call was some old AF person yelling, "Where do I vote at?" Quote, our number was very similar to a Walgreens. 2 numbers transposed. That was weird. And my grandparents had had their number for like 40 years, so we weren't changing. Happens for email too. My email address is short and simple. Something like ksmith@hotmail. Not really it. And please leave that address alone. So although I am Keith and live in the US, I get tons of real, non-spam email for Kevin and Kathy and Keyshawn and Christy from all over the world. I get bank statements, home sale agreements, receipts and invoices from all sorts of places. If there happens to be some message that looks truly urgent, I'll reply back and tell them to ask Kevin for his real email address. But most of it I just laugh at and file away into a misaddressed folder. My parents' number was one digit off from the trashiest bar in my entire metro area. I loved being at their house when they would get calls asking about cage fights. For those who haven't seen it, here's a similar wrong number story from a few years back where a guy got a Pizza Hut shut down. Worth a read.
If you enjoyed this video, please check out our playlists full of similar content. Epicaricast is like doom scrolling for your ears. Please like, share, and subscribe.